Hello everyone, Cat Weasel here, welcome to the channel and welcome to our new playthrough, which is Eldritch Horror and the Masks of Nyarlathotep. So brilliant, can't wait to get back into it, but first of all, an apology. I'd like to apologise for my lack of videos in the last 3 or 4 months. I have been horrendously busy. As you know, I've got a new job which involves shift work, so I do night shifts, all sorts of stuff. Plus family stuff's been going on and what have you. Nothing major, no problems, nothing like that, but I have been busy. So I was unable to finish the Sword and Sorcery playthrough, A Menaced Kingdom. I did think about sort of setting it up again and finishing it off, but the thread's gone out of it really. Great game, thoroughly enjoyed it. I will be playing it again, but I thought it's best to start with a brand new playthrough. We did do quite a few episodes of Sword and Sorcery, so hopefully you did get a good idea of how the game plays and whether it is for you or not. I thoroughly enjoyed it, will play it again, but I thought we may as well start with something new as it has been so long since I did a video. And I picked Eldritch Horror and the Masks of Nyarlathotep. I've had this for a while. It's the final big box expansion for Eldritch Horror. So Eldritch Horror is finished now. Until they decide to do a second edition or something. Hopefully they'll do a better job than they did with the Arkham 3rd edition. But let's play Masks of Nyarlathotep. Now, there are 2 ancient ones in the big box, Antediluvium and Nyarlathotep. But seeing as we're playing Masks of Nyarlathotep, I thought we may as well use the guy who's on the box. So we're going to do Nyarlathotep. We'll have a look at him in a moment. As you can see, I've already set up quite a lot of the board. We've done this loads of times. This is now my 9th playthrough of Eldritch Horror. If you want to see how that's done in order and everything, go back, see an earlier playlist. There's loads of them out there and you'll see me go through it all. The vast majority of cards and decks have all been shuffled, they've all been put out, and they're all ready to go. Some of them I'm going to do in a moment, like the Mythos Deck, and we'll find out where the expedition going, that sort of thing. We'll do that in a moment. I've also already picked out our investigators. There were 7 investigators in Masks of Nyarlathotep. I've picked 4 of them, but we will keep the other 3 on standby. There is a good chance that one or many of the investigators I've picked will die or go bonkers, so we've got the other 3 in the background to take over from them. If we end up going through 7 characters, we'll probably have lost anyway. We'll see which 4 out of the 7 I've picked, and we'll go through them shortly. Okay, what to do next? Well, let's have a look at Nyarlathotep. He's the guy on the box, and there he is. Isn't he marvellous? Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos. This is him in his like monstrous form. He can basically take any form he wants, and frequently does. He's the only god that still walks amongst humanity, and basically goes around and making a nuisance of himself. So we're going to be against him, and he's got a doom track of 12, so we've set our marker there on 12. His cultists, so they have a toughness of 1, so we only need 1 success to actually kill them. As regards a horror check, it's a will test -1. Now, even if we fail that, we don't lose any sanity, but something else happens, as you'll see. For a combat check, it's a strength test, and so long as we get 1 success, we will kill them. If we get no successes, they will do 1 damage to us. But like I say, as soon as we get a single success, we will get rid. Now, if you fail the will test for the horror check, you gain a corruption condition. Corruption conditions are horrendous. So, even though we won't lose any sanity, the corruption condition is no joke, and they are extremely hard to get rid of. So, we do not want that to happen. If you already have a corruption condition, then you will gain 1 Eldritch token instead, and that will go on your investigator sheet. They're pretty bad as well. We'll go through those in a moment. Set aside all the Nyarlathotep special encounters. We've done that. Then we'll set up the Mythos deck. More of that in a moment. Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos. When you have Eldritch tokens equal to or greater than your maximum sanity, you are devoured. So this is where these Eldritch tokens come in. Now, we can get rid of them under certain circumstances, but because it's Eldritch Horror, there is more chance of us getting them than getting rid of them. When 2 mysteries have been solved, investigators will win the game. Now, 2 mysteries here, it's normally 3, but as you will see, the mysteries for Nyarlathotep are a bit more involved. So there's only 2 of them, but they involve... we'll be doing 2 adventures. There are 4 sort of adventures where you deal with various cults that are being run by Nyarlathotep, and we'll just pick 2 of them out of the 4. And each adventure has sort of 4 stages to it. So while it's only 2 mysteries, each mystery is a little bit more involved than your normal mystery. When Nyarlathotep awakens, flip this sheet and resolve the Nyarlathotep awakens effect on the back. We'll do that as and when. It's got a reckoning. Investigators as a group gain Eldritch tokens equal to half the number of investigators. Eldritch tokens again. So we've got 4 investigators, so we'll be receiving 2 on every reckoning. So those 2, because we receive them as a group, we can sort of place them on who we want, but all the same, we're going to be starting to get a lot of Eldritch tokens on our investigators, and it won't be long before somebody gets devoured, probably. So, as I say, we do have the 3 other investigators from Massive Nyarlathotep to step in, but once those 3 have sort of stepped in, I don't think I'll do another one. It's just because it is a bit of a pain as well. It's the other thing I don't like about getting a new investigator in Eldritch Horror is it is a bit of a pain doing all the paperwork involved with putting a new investigator up and all that sort of cobblers. So we'll just say we've got 7 investigators in our pool, and that's what we're going to use. He has many names and wears many faces. He alone of the outer gods walks the earth, the puppet master pulling the strings of 1,000 cults, wearing the masks of 1,000 gods. So there we are. So that is Nyarlathotep. What we're going to do is we're going to make up his Mythos deck now. Now, you can see the Mythos deck. Every single Mythos card is laid out before you. Here they all are. And why have I laid them out like that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's just to give you an idea of what you can do to adjust the difficulty in this game. I recently watched a game by Johannes, the Lonesome Gamer. He was playing Massive Nyarlathotep as well, but he was playing Antediluvian, the other ancient one. And he had a horrible time. Mainly because, well, he didn't roll very well to start with, which never helps. But he also ended up with a load of tentacle cards. In fact, so many, he ended up taking them all out and redrawing his Mythos deck. And I can understand where he's coming from. Because if you get a load of these tentacle cards, it's just horrendous. 1 or 2, 3 or 4, you know, you can probably deal with. But if you draw in, what, say 12, 14 Mythos cards out of your Mythos deck, and you get 6 or 7 that are like this, then you're really going to struggle. You are going to struggle for a win. I mean, I know one of they have an insane difficulty on Eldritch Horror, which is just use these cards. If anybody's won just using these cards, well done. I don't believe you. I think you're a liar. But fair enough, you say so. Then very well done. Because I won't be able to win against just those. They'd just wipe the floor with me. So you can do... There's another... What's the other one? The other thing you can do, which I think's in the rules, is you can stage your difficulty. So stage 1 of the Mythos deck, you can just use the easy cards. Stage 2, use the normal. And stage 3, use the difficult ones, the tentacles. So that's another way of doing it. But... and yet another way is like I've done here. What I've done is I've split them into green, yellow and blue. Blue are the rumours. But I've also further split them down into easy, normal and hard. Why? Well, what we can do is we can actually, with still using every single card, what we can do is when we build our deck, we can tailor it to how difficult we want it. So say we wanted more of the easy cards. you just make sure that more of the easy cards end up in your Mythos card at the end. And I'll show you how I'm going to do it, but as you can see, when I make up my particular deck, you'll see how you yourself can mess with the percentages so that it works for you and your group. So the way I'm going to do it is, let's quickly have a look at how we're going to set this up. So stage 1 is going to be 1, 2, 1, stage 2 is 2, 3, 1, and stage 3 is 2, 4, 0. But if we actually have a look at the columns, we're not going to be using more than 9 cards. We've got 9 yellow cards are what we're going to use. That's the most. There's going to be 5 green and there's going to be 2 blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 10 cards of each colour. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up this deck from those 10 cards. But the makeup of those 10 cards is, and I'll do it for the green cards first. So these are the normal difficulty ones. As you can see, there are no snowflakes, there are no tentacles. Give it a shuffle. Randomise all of these, and then we're going to pick 6 of these. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pop that up there. Let's move Nyarlathotep out of the way for a thing. So we've got 6 of those. Then I'm going to take 2 of the easy ones. So give these a good shuffle as well. And a cut. And then we'll go 1, 2. And finally, the difficult ones. So there we go. Do that and a cut. And we'll take 2 of those. So what we've got is we have 10 green cards. Here. 10 green cards, but we know the percentages. We know we have 60% normal difficulty cards, we have 20% easy difficulty cards, and we have 20% hard difficulty cards. So you can mess around with that percentage as much as you like. So you could have 80% normal, 10 easy, 10 hard. You could have 60% normal, 30% easy and 10 hard. Yeah. So you can mess around with that however you like, just to give yourself a little percentage chance. It also means, I mean, when we pick out of here, we'll be picking 5 green cards out of here. We could pick both of the tentacles that are in here, but we can only pick 2. So out of those green cards, at most, we will have 2 tentacles. Yeah, so you can see how it affects the actual percentages. So there we go, that's our green deck. And I'm going to do the same with the yellow deck and the blue deck, but you won't have to watch that because I'll do it off camera. And welcome back. So we've done it there. We've got green, yellow and blue. Awesome. So we need, for stage 1, we need 1 green, 2 yellow and 1 blue. So that's 1, 2 and a blue. And we'll give those a shuffle. For stage 1. Right, and a cut, why not, even though there's only 4 cards. So that's stage 1. Stage 2 is 2 green, 3 yellow and 1 blue. So we'll take these, we'll have a cut, and we'll take 1, 2, and cut that, and 1, 2, 3. And finally we take 1 out of here, so we'll just take 1 out of the middle somewhere. That'll do. That'll go on there. Then we shuffle these together. There we go. And let's do a cut. That goes under there. And finally we have 2 more green and 4 more yellow. So green here. So let's choose the bottom ones. 2 off the bottom. And this should be the final 4. Yes. There we go. And give these a shuffle. And this will be our final stage. Okay, one final. Right, so there we go, our 16 cards, which will make up our Mythos deck. As you can see, probabilities are we're going to get a lot of normal ones. Could get the odd one, which is a snowflake, and the odd one, which is a tentacle. Yeah, we're really unlucky. We picked every single tentacle out. We're guaranteed at least 1 tentacle, because we only had 10 cards on our yellow and we used 9. So at least 2 tentacle cards. We're in that group of 10. There's only 1 card left. So we've definitely got at least 1 tentacle in there. We know that, probably more. As I say, you can mess around with your percentages there as much as you like and just get it to, you know, what you feel is best for you or your group. That's just the way I do it. It is a bit of a faff. There's probably an easy way that people use, but that's just what I do. Okay, right, I'll get rid of all these Mythos cards, put those over there, and then we'll get on with the rest of the setup. And welcome back. So let's get rid of some of the other stuff that we've got to do. First of all, we have our gate stack. Now there are 3 more gates in here. Obviously I've took out the gates for the sideboards, we don't need those. But we did get 3 more gates with the Masks of Nyarlathotep. I think we got Relay, Hyperborea, which is space 13, relays down here, obviously South Pacific, and another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. But we got 3 extra gates, so they're in here. I have shuffled these, but sod it, we'll give them a cut as well. So just for laughs. So there we go. We have our gate stack. We'll put that there. Next up, we may as well do the expedition. And whoop. We'll do this the usual way. We'll give it a shuffle, then we'll cut it. There we go. Let's see where the expedition's going. It is going to sunny Arkham. So we'll move the expedition to Arkham. And I'll put that over there later. Right, so that's done. What else have we got to do? We've got to do our asset reserve. Now, the cards are getting a bit ridiculous now. You can see, look at this asset deck. And we've took a few out here. A few have gone, obviously, onto our investigators. But, yes, it is getting a bit ridiculous now. But hopefully, once we get into the game and we pick up a few assets, this stack will go down a tiny bit. Again, I have shuffled this, but we'll sort of do it again. I'm not the best shuffler anyhow, as you know, but certainly not with a deck like this. So what we'll do is we'll give it a cut, and then we will pick our 4 assets for the reserve. So first up is a Grotesque Compendium, which costs 4. So it's an item tome, gain +4 law when resolving spell effects. Cool. Each 6 you roll when resolving a spell effect counts as 2 successes. This is a Masks card, as you can see. That is the Masks of Nyarlathotep icon. So cool. We've got one of our brand new assets. So we'll put that there. That is followed by skeleton keys, which cost 1. They're a trinket. Once per round, you may add 1 to the result of 1 die when resolving a test during an otherworld encounter. And this is a Dreamlands card. So, skeleton keys are our second asset. Our third asset is a secret page, item tome. Gain +1 law when resolving spell effects. So we're getting a lot of law cards here. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, you also gain a spell. And that's a Mountains of Madness card. And finally, we have Expedition Map, which also costs 1. So another trinket. Once per round, you may add one to the result of one die when resolving a test during an expedition encounter or a Mystic Ruins encounter. This would have been good if we were doing Antediluvian, because that's got Mystic Ruins in it. But we have expeditions as well, so it will help in this game, should we get it. And that is a... looks, I think that's Forsaken Law, isn't it? Yeah. Right, okay. So there we go. Those are our 4 assets, ready to be picked up at various antique shops and bazaars around the world. Okay, right, so we've done that. What to do next? I think we can have a look at the prelude. Why not? We'll have a look at the prelude. So we've got Harbinger of the Outer Gods. The bloated woman's mourning, the pharaoh claims the beast. Hear not the dweller's warning, the messenger comes to feast. Within the haunter's darkness, the bloody tongue doth snake. The black wind roars across the sand, the Lord of Kadath wakes. After resolving setup, if Nyarlathotep is the ancient one, he is, each investigator will gain 1 Eldritch token, so we've got 1 straight off. But they can improve 1 skill of their choice, so we'll do that in a bit. Then each investigator may gain 1 additional Eldritch token to gain 1 boon condition, so we'll have a think about that. If Nyarlathotep is not the ancient one, well, he is, so we can forget about that. During this game, when you have Eldritch tokens equal to or greater than your maximum sanity, you are devoured. So we knew that already, but pop that over here. So that is our prelude. So we're going to get a Eldritch token each. So I'll dig those out now. So they're the 4 Eldritch tokens, and we'll see those shortly when we check out our investigators. So that's the prelude. Now we need a mystery. So here are the mystery cards. Give these a shuffle. And a cut. Right, there we go. Okay, so our first mystery is going to be Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh. Mahahaha. Investigation of the ill-fated Carlisle expedition leads to Cairo, where rumours of an ancient queen's imminent resurrection fill you with unease, and the shadow of something much darker lies beneath the surface. When this card enters play, set aside all Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh adventures, then draw the Investigating the Great Sphinx adventure. So we'll do that, because these are the adventures. So what we'll do... oh, there we go, it's right on the bottom. So we'll draw that. Investigating the Great Sphinx, Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh 1. You learn that the ritual is to be performed by the Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh, but the location of the heinous ceremony is a closely guarded secret. When this card enters play, for each clue on a space adjacent to the pyramids, move that clue to the pyramids. When this adventure is completed, draw the Labyrinth of Queen Nitocris adventure. Cool. After you resolve a research encounter, you may spend any number of clues gained from that encounter to place those clues on this card. When there are clues on this card equal to or greater than half the investigators, complete this adventure. So we need to put 2 clues on this. Yeah. So there are 4 of these. Yes. So we will have to probably have to finish all 4 of these, and then we complete the first mystery, and then we'll move on to the next adventure. We'll get 4 again and complete all 4 of those to do the final mystery. So that is what we're going to start with. So pop that there. That is ready, so we know what we're doing. Let's go across, let's have a look at our investigators. And here we are with our first investigator. So the first one I drew at random was Preston Fairmont, the millionaire. Yes, this guy is completely brand new. Well, he's not brand new now, but he was one of the set of investigators that FFG sort of created well after the original 48. So out of the 7 that you get in Masks of Nyarlathotep, 6 of them are absolutely brand new. One of them, Calvin Wright, he had been created before, but he was sort of a promo character for that Arkham Knights. But yes, so he's a bit more old school, but the other 6 are all completely brand new. You probably know them from Mansions of Madness if you've got that, because they're in that. So essentially we're up to, what is it, 55 characters now? 55 investigators that you can have in Arkham Files games, and Preston Fairmont, the Millionaire, is a brand new one. So we're going to be using him. So let's have a look at him. As you can see, he has 7 health and he has 5 sanity, and he also has one of these. So he's one of the people that's going to be in big trouble because he's only got 5 sanity. So he's already got an Eldritch token. We'll up one of his abilities in a moment. Remember, for that Eldritch token we do actually get to improve an ability, so let's not forget that. Okay, so 7 health and 5 sanity. He is a millionaire. You, as a special action, you and another investigator on your space may each perform an acquire assets action and or a gather resources action. Once per round, this is his passive, when you gain an asset from the reserve or deck, you also recover a sanity, which is excellent, especially considering that Eldritch token. My money, my legacy, my problem. Let me handle it in my own way. Nice one. So that's Preston, who looks like very young Laurence Olivier. So yes, he's a millionaire. Now, just a couple of things to go through. We have resources in Masks of Nyarlathotep. It's like focus tokens got brought in after the beginning of the game. Resources have now been brought in. You'll know those from the LCG, anybody who plays that. Exactly the same thing. So they've been brought in, and it's another like little mechanism. You'll see that in action when we play the game. Okay, so that's Preston. He's got 2 law, average, influence 5, brilliant. The only investigator I know that actually starts with a 5 in any of his abilities. But he is a millionaire, after all. He's got an observation of 2, strength of 3, and a will of 1. His will is pants, man. It's really bad. So that is what we're going to improve. Normally, what I do when I'm improving abilities is I go for the best one. But he's already got 5 in influence. I was tempted to put his strength up, but with a will of 1, he's going to be rubbish in fights anyway. So I'm going to increase his will, because there's a lot of will testing, I think, in this particular with this particular ancient one. So I think he's going to need a better will than that. So that's what he's going to improve. So he's going to go up to 2 will. So let's flip him over. We don't bother with any of that, because obviously he's not going to die, he's not going to go bonkers, he's going to be fine. So he starts in Istanbul, and he's got the fine clothes asset. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Born with a silver spoon in his mouth, Preston was doted upon by his parents, and by all accounts should have lived a prosperous life free of worry and hardship. When his father died, he inherited an unimaginable fortune, but there are some things money cannot buy. Downtrodden and depressed, Preston wasted money on gambling and women, until one night a séance performed by one of his girls brought him into contact with the spirit of his father, and shed a disturbing light upon the source of his family fortune. Dun, dun, dun. So that's Preston. So we'll get him his improvement token for will. So at least give him a fighting chance with his will. So that'll go up to 2. So funky doodle. And let's have a look at his asset. Obviously he's exceptionally well dressed. Item: each 6 you roll when performing an acquire assets action counts as 2 successes. So basically this guy is like Charlie with rocket pants on. Yeah, he's just He just buys stuff for fun, and strangely enough, that's what he's going to do. Because why look a gift horse in the mouth? Let's get him buying stuff as quickly as possible. So that is fine clothes. You'll also notice that we have something else up here. What's that? Well, along with gather resources, this particular big box expansion also gave us personal stories. So anybody who's played Arkham Horror 2nd edition will know personal stories. They're just like little stories that have a risk of a reward or something horrible happening. It basically gives you a mini task for your particular investigator, and if you manage to succeed at that task, you will get a benefit. If you don't succeed at the tasks, then things don't go as well. So this is Preston. Let's flip him over. Wealth without work. You have been fortunate, far more fortunate than most. Ever since you began to question the origin of your family's fortune, you have been thinking of ways to share your wealth with others and atone for your family's sins. After you or another investigator performs an acquire assets action, if that investigator has 8 or more assets, discard this card and gain the philanthropy reward. Ooh. When you have only 1 health or 1 sanity, discard this card and gain the festering greed consequence instead. So what we've got to do to succeed at this story is we have to give... Yeah, so he's got to buy everything really quickly, because if he gets 8 or more assets, then we can get rid of this card and we will get the boon. He's got to do that before he ends up on 1 health or 1 sanity. I think we can do that. He's got like influence to burn. He's got the fine clothes, so he can just go on a shopping spree. I don't know what he gets if he succeeds. I don't know what he gets if he doesn't succeed. That will be a bit of excitement for us, won't it? So we'll pop that there. So those are the personal stories that came with the big box Masks of Nyarlathotep. We will see those in action. That is it for Preston. So let's have a look at our next investigator. And here we are with our second investigator, who is Daniela Reyes. Woo! So she has got 7 health and 5 sanity. Again, lowish sanity. We're going to have to watch her. She has an Eldritch token, just like everybody else has, and we'll use that and we'll bump one of her abilities in a moment. She also starts with a clue and a resource, so these are what the resources look like. Anybody who's played the LCG recognise those, so pop those. You've all seen clues before. Okay, right, so let's have a look at her. So, Daniela Reyes, the mechanic, action. You may spend any number of resources to gain an equal number of clues. And as a passive, once per round after you perform an acquire assets action or a rest action, you may gain 1 resource. So that's good for generating clues. Yeah? Relax, tough guy. I'll handle this. You stand over there and look pretty. You go, girl. Love it. So 7 and 5, we've already seen that. She's got a Law of 3, good. Influence 3, good. Observation 1, rubbish. Strength 3, good. And Will 3, good. Now, she gets to improve one of these abilities. And to be honest, looking at her, she's going to be our face puncher, isn't she? So she'll be kicking plenty of monsters in the groin. So what we'll do is we'll pop her strength up. Yeah, so we'll move that up to 4. Cool, I'll dig that out in a moment. Let's flip this over. And she lives in San Francisco, the United States. And she gains a headstrong condition and 1 clue and 1 resource, as we have seen. Daniela has never been one to sweat the small stuff. Everything that seems big today will be small tomorrow. And it's the little things in life. Fast cars, pretty girls and home-cooked meals that make things worth living anyway. Ooh, fast cars, pretty girls, eh? See what they're doing there? LGTB, yes, yes, let's get it in. So, coolness. But that was before. One night, a strange noise prompted her to leave a glass of water behind the door to catch evil spirits, like her mama always said. A glass of water that in the morning she found shattered into 1,000 pieces. Something is going on, and she's going to find out what. Blimey, didn't know we could do that with a glass of water. So that's Daniela, so we'll pop her there, and what were we going to do? We were going to give her, yes, her ability. So, yes, +1 on her strength. She's going to be our face puncher, I believe, so good stuff. Right, anything else for us to do? A personal story, and she does have a talent, which is a headstrong condition. There are millions of these conditions now. So, talent. Once per round, when you would lose sanity, you may test will. If you pass, prevent the loss of up to 2 sanity, then flip this card. So, there we go, that's headstrong. So, I picked this out, first headstrong card I got, just to speed things up. I've already picked it out. If you think of cheating, then this is the wrong channel to watch. Go and watch something else. So, that's the one I just picked. I did pick it randomly. And we do still have something to do, don't we? Yes, that's what we need to do. So Daniela will pop this over. The shape of things. Even the smallest force properly applied can change the world. You fix things. It is what you do. Now it is time to fix things on a much larger scale. When you spend a resource, place 1 resource on this card. Then, if there are 8 resources on this card, discard this card and gain the resourceful reward. At the end of the encounter phase, if there are 10 or more monsters on the game board, discard this card and gain the superstitious consequence. So right, it's good job she's a groin puncher, because we can't let the monsters get out of hand. And, you know, if she spends a load of resources, we can actually get the benefit from it. So that's Daniela. I think that is it. Nothing else to go through with her. So let's have a look at our next investigator. And here's our next investigator, Agatha Crane. Yes, the parapsychologist. So let's have a look at her. She's got 5 health and 7 sanity, so good. She's got 7 sanity. She's got a good chance of lasting a bit longer than the other 2. There is her Eldritch token, and we'll have a look at what we're going to improve on her skills in a moment. So let's have a look at Agatha. Again, brand new investigator. Agatha Crane, the parapsychologist. As an action, you may perform 1 action on a ritual or tome possession you have and gain +2 lore during that action. Brilliant. Yeah, so ritual spell. Can use it on ritual spells, good. And any tomes that she's got. So +2 lore is awesome. Once per round, when you pass a lore test as part of a spell effect, gain 1 clue. That is just amazing, man. The proof, as they say, is in the pudding. Quite right, dear. So there we go. Let's have a look at her skills. She's got a lore of 4, brilliant. Influence 3, good. Observation 3, good. Strength 1, rubbish. And will 2, which is okay. Which ability are we going to increase? Well, in this particular case, lore. Yeah, she's not going to be doing any fighting, not if I can help it. Okay, and the good thing about Eldritch Horror is you pretty much avoid combat if you want to. Yeah, so lore is going to go up to 5. So we'll get one of those out. There we go, and we'll just flip this over. Have a look at her story and where she lives. She lives in Tokyo, Japan. She has a Call the Storm spell and an Instill Bravery spell. If you had asked Agatha during her youth whether she held any stock in the idea of paranormal experience, she would have laughed you out of town. But Agatha has never been one to turn a blind eye to hard evidence, and these days the evidence for a world outside of our perception has been piling up. Her husband, Wilbur, knows better than to obstruct his determined wife, and thus has bid Agatha a tearful farewell as she prepares for a lengthy trip to Tokyo, where she suspects she will find the answers that she seeks. Good old Wilbur. So there we go. That's Agatha. Pop that there. So I've picked out 2 spells. Again, I've done this randomly. If you don't believe me, go and watch something else. First one is Call the Storm. It's a ritual spell, so we'll get +2 lore on this. Woo! And remember, front and back of a spell is a spell effect, so any bonuses for spell effects, they apply as well, so that's brilliant. So ritual, action, choose a monster on your space and test law -1. If you pass, the chosen monster loses 3 health, then you flip the card, so amazing. So, but remember with these spells, because you flip the card, the more successes you get the better, because if you only get like 1 success, generally something pretty bad happens. So it's good to get like 3 or more if you can. So that's the Cold Storm. Instill Bravery spell. Now this is an incantation, so we won't get the ritual bonus for this because it's an incantation. Once per round, when an investigator would lose sanity, you may test law. If you pass, prevent that investigator from losing up to 2 sanity, then flip this card. So good stuff. So pop that there and that there. And that is Agatha, apart from her personal story. Let's flip it over. The scientific method. Everything has a rational scientific explanation, even the paranormal. If you could only convince your colleagues that these things are real, you might be able to procure the means to deal with them. After you gain a clue from your passive ability, you may spend 5 clues and discard this card to gain the rational explanation reward. Oof. When you only have 1 sanity, discard this card and gain the superstition consequence. Ooh, they sound like episode titles for The Big Bang Theory, don't they? The superstition consequence. Right, so that's Agatha. Okay, so that means we only have 1 investigator to go. So let's go and have a look. And here we are with our final investigator, Carson Sinclair, the butler. So he has got 6 health and 6 sanity. Let's have a look at him, shall we? So there's Carson. Looks like he's sort of sneaking into the drinks cupboard to get a shifty whiskey or something. So nice one, son. Carson Sinclair, the butler. As an action, he can perform a trade action, then perform 1 additional action. So essentially, he's getting 1 free trade action. So, coolness. Whenever you or another investigator on your space performs a prepare for travel action, that investigator gains 1 additional travel ticket of his choice. Think of the children! So that's his passive, so that's good. So he should be able to zoom around the board, this guy. Coolness. Right, his law is 2, okay. Influence 3, good. Observation 3, good. Strength 2, okay. And will 3 is good. So it's quite well rounded, and plus his sanity isn't too bad, so that's good. As regards, so he's got his Eldritch token. What are we going to improve? I think we'll improve his observation. Get his observation up to 4. The observation of everybody else, apart from Agatha, is pretty poor. So he can be our observing type. Or shall I bump his strength up? No, yes, I'll bump his strength up. We've got Daniela as a bit of a groin puncher, but let's have a bit of a backup in Carson. So we'll put his strength up to 3 and his will to 3, and then, you know, he can take out the odd monster as well. Yeah, I think that'll work. So we'll increase strength for him. Okay, let's flip him over. London, the United Kingdom. What ho? So good old Carson's in London. He has a lucky cigarette case asset, we'll have a look at that in a minute, and 1 clue. That's is already on there. Again, I picked the clues out and everything, all randomly. Carson still often thinks back to that fateful night when his friend and employer, one Hercule Webb, was swallowed up by a dimensional tear, never to be seen again. Well, that doesn't happen every day, does it? With Mr. Webb's disappearance, the Webb estate fell into the hands of the Webb's duplicitous business manager, a man by the name of Dupuis. As the sole provider for the Webb children, Carson has devoted himself to proving Dupuis' involvement in the events of Hercule's disappearance and to restoring the children as the rightful heirs to the Webb fortune. Good old Carson, yes, think of the children. So that's Carson. Pop him in there. We said strength, didn't we? So we'll give him his improvement token. There we are. And lucky cigarette case. So we've seen this millions of times, but it's trinket. Once per round you may add 1 to the result of 1 die when resolving a test. So very useful item. Let's have a look at his personal story. Flip this over. Seeking answers. You do your best to provide for the web children from afar, just as you always have, even as the world is falling apart. Whenever you gain a clue during a research encounter, place 1 Eldritch token on this card. Then, if there are 3 Eldritch tokens on this card, discard this card and gain the Loyal Friend reward. When another investigator is defeated or devoured, discard this card and gain the Failed Again consequence. Dun, dun, dun. So yes, Eldritch tokens, but these are like sort of separate, just for adding up on this particular card, I think. So yes, ooh, if he's doing research encounters, I'm thinking whether I should increase his observation. I can't remember if research encounters are, you know, predominantly observation tests. He's got 3 observation anyway, sod it. So yeah, if I'd been playing the game a bit more, I may have picked observation, but I've gone for strength. So toughy. Right, that's Carson. Plonk him there. Righto, so that is all of our investigators. Just quickly, before we move on, let's have a look at the ones who are in reserve. So we've got Safina Rousseau, who is a painter. So she had really high sanity as well, so pity I didn't pick her out. Not too good on the old health, but 8 sanity is pretty cool. And apart from her strength, you know, she was okay on her stuff. We'll go through it in greater detail should she come onto the board. There's Father Matteo, the priest, as well. So he had high sanity as well. So I didn't pick these out particularly well randomly. If I'd been cheating, I'd have definitely had these two. Because of the high sanity, and we're against Nyarlathotep. Again, he's pretty good apart from his observation. And Calvin Wright, the guy I mentioned before. I think he was a promo character for Arkham Horror's 2nd edition, way back in the mists of time. And he's obviously done a bit of a nut job. And he had, you know, good... I think he's got some drawbacks, but he's got 7 health, 7 sanity, so he'd have been a good choice as well. His will's rubbish though, pretty much like Preston's is. But other than that, you know, he's got good abilities and stats. But I think there is a bit of a drawback with him, if I recall, which is why his abilities are so good and his health and sanity are so good. But we may well see, should anybody get devoured or whatever. Right, so those are the 3 that are in reserve. Right, I'll go and put Carson back, and then we will look to draw our first Mythos card, ready for turn 1. Hello everyone, I'm back. Possibly quite a few of you shouting at the screen saying, "Don't turn over a Mythos card!" Yes, it's been that long since I played. Yes, I did have a quick look at the rules just to make sure. And yes, we don't turn over a Mythos card. I'm thinking of Arkham Horror 2nd edition, obviously. We don't do it in Eldritch Horror. Funnily enough, the first game I ever played of Eldritch Horror, Azathoth, got horrendous. I got a horrendous shoeing as well in that game. But I did that in that game. Turned it over without thinking, but I remembered this time I did check the rules just before, so we don't turn over a Mythos card, but we do turn over a gate card. As per the icon reference, there are 4 investigators, so we just turn over a single gate. And let's see where this is going. It is going to Sydney, which is bad news because it's right out of the way. I suppose Agatha's quite close, but yeah, Sydney's down here. I'll put it on a stand later. So that's our first gate, and we also have to pick 2 clues. Now I don't know where my funky clue bag's gone. I have a feeling it's in my Arkham Horror box. So and it'll be a bit of a pain to get out, so we'll just use this little black bag. And our first clue is Space 6, which is the American South, and that is quite close to Daniela. And our second clue is going to, where's this going? Istanbul! Brilliant, because that's right on top of Preston. Nice one. So we'll do that. And monster. Because we've got a gate, we have to pull a monster. All the monsters are in here. Obviously, you don't put the epic monsters in. This is just normal monsters, of which there are loads. Now, we'll get right to the bottom and hopefully pick an easy one. What we got? A dimensional shambler. I don't think this is going to be easy. I think this is going to be an utter pig. Let's flip it over. So it's -1 on the horror check, -1 will. We've got to get 2 successes or we start taking sanity damage. 2 toughness, well that's not too bad. As far... oh, it's an observation test. Oh, bloody hell, the observation's crap for everybody. Agatha's isn't bad, I don't suppose. Agatha and Carson have got 3, but it's observation -1. Fortunately, we don't lose any health if we fail that, but I bet this down here does something horrible. If you fail the observation test, gain a lost in time and space condition. Cobblers. Well, at least he doesn't have a reckoning. So he goes to Sydney. Again, I'll put him on a stand before the start of next episode. So that's it, I think. I think I've done everything. Again, apologies if I'm a bit rusty. It's about a year since I played Eldritch Horror. I think the last time I played it was Cities in Ruin, wasn't it? And I did the old play by forum thing. Unfortunately, I can't do that this time. It's just I don't have the time. I'm really sorry. I really enjoyed, you know, having people join me on the board, but unfortunately I don't have the time, so I'll have to play it all solo. But as usual, you know, if people want to weigh in with like, do this, do that, and this would be a really good idea, please do. Please do. Couple of other things to mention. You may notice as regards the setup of decks and stuff, I haven't gone through it in any great detail, but I do have my condition decks separated. So I have things like, you know, all my deck conditions together, my madness conditions together, injury conditions together, all that sort of stuff. Talents are all together. So they're all split. I've also split my spells because that was getting a massive deck as well. So I've split them into glamours, incantations and rituals. Most of the time, when you pick up a spell, it will tell you to get a particular type of spell. So, first incantation spell. So I'll just go to the incantation like deck and pick them from the bottom as normal and do it that way. If it's just a spell, then what I'll do is, because I've got 3 decks, I'll roll a d6. Yeah, assign numbers to the decks and then pick whichever. Yep, and do it that way. It's just a lot easier. The other thing I've split up is the unique asset deck, because that is huge as well now. So I've just split it into 2. I've split all the tasks out. Yeah, so which is a huge amount of tasks. These, like, look, I'll show you. So what is it? Ugh. Those are the tasks. Look at that. That is just tasks. So I've split all those out into one pile, and the other pile has everything else. So you've got things like allies in here and item tomes and all the rest of it, and you know, just your basic items and things like magical relics and stuff like that. They're all in here, because generally what it'll say is take a task unique asset. So we'll go off the other stack. If it's anything else, we'll take it out of here. Again, it's just to make the decks a little bit more manageable. So if you see me picking from all different places, that's why I have split a lot of these up. Because there's a horrendous amount of cards now. Do you remember when it first started, when you got the base box and it had hardly any cards in? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, oh, one other thing to chat about. It was quite a big thing at the time when Masks of Nyarlathotep came out. It is a big box expansion, but it doesn't have big box content. Now, to be fair to Fantasy Flight Games, there's a bit more content than would fit in, you know, a small box. You know, like Forsaken Lore or Signs of Carcosa or something like that. There's a bit too much to fit in there, but there is not enough by a long chalk to fit in a big box expansion. There is loads of space in that box when you buy it. if you feel a bit disgruntled and feel like you've been ripped off, I can understand why. Because no way is that a big box expansion. It's not a small box expansion either. It's a sort of like medium box expansion, if you like. But yes, they charge big box price for it, and it's a bit of a cheek, to be honest. But yes, be wary of that if you want to buy Masks of Nyarlathotep. What I do is hang around, because even though they are not making any more Eldritch Horror, they are reprinting it. There isn't a second edition of Eldritch Horror, so they will keep printing it. Just hang on and you'll be able to get Masks of Nyarlathotep in a sale or something, you know, wherever your local friendly local game store is, or Amazon or Miniature Market or whatever. They will have a sale on at some point. There isn't a second edition as yet, so Fantasy Flight will keep reprinting this game like they did with Arkham Horror 2nd edition for absolutely years, until the 3rd edition came along. So just hang fire and wait till you get a deal on it. That is my advice to you, because it is not worth full price. Yeah, Fantasy Flight, even before they got took over by Asmodee, started to be a penny pinching lot of gits, in my opinion, and they certainly did it with Masks of Nyarlathotep. So while it's bigger than a small box, it's no way is it a big box. Yeah, that's a con. So try and get it in a sale somewhere is my advice. Okay, right, ranting over. Back to the game. So yes, we're all ready to go. Everything's set up, and we will go straight into turn 1 when I have time. It won't be tomorrow, because I'm going to watch Lancashire play, and at the cricket, playing Worcestershire today, and for the next few days. So I'm going to bob down there tomorrow, and then I'm going to have a few pints with my mate. So no wonder you never get any bloody videos. I'm always gallivanting out. He tells us all about bloody shift work and everything, and he's just out on the bloody beer all the time. Yes, I'm afraid so. You've seen through me. But I'll try and get one up the day after, I do promise. And we'll start turn 1. So we've got Daniela, we've got Carson, we've got Preston, and we've got Agatha. I did Preston, Daniela, Agatha and Carson in that order. They may not stay in that order. I'll have a think about who's going to go first and whatnot. Yeah, but as it stands, that is the sort of order they are in, but I may well change that. We shall see when we start turn 1. Okay, so that is the end of the introduction and setup. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad to be back. It's nice to get back into the swing of things, even though I'm forgetting the odd thing. I must admit, I'm just like desperately trying to remember the Eldritch Horror rules, because it's been so long, and I'm going to have more fun probably when I try and upload this in a minute, because I think I've pretty much forgotten how to do video editing or anything like that, so we shall see. So it'll be really good to crack on with turn 1, and it's good to be back. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for all the subscriptions, for all the views, and for all your kind support. It is much appreciated. Anybody who's gone to BGG or Board Game Links or anything like that and thumbed up any of the videos or liked them or commented on them, whether on a website or here on YouTube, whatever, thank you so much. Any errors in setup, as ever, let me know and I'll change them before we actually start turn 1. As usual, I'll be doing a turn at a time, so we should have plenty of opportunity to fix any boneheaded errors I make as we go along. As I mentioned earlier on, any hints or tips, yeah, please let me know. I'm always up for any sort of help whatsoever. I think George will be watching. I hope so. The main reason is I can never work out how many bonuses apply to weapons or whatever, and George normally puts me right on that, so thanks for that, George, in advance. He's the only guy who seems to understand it. I can't get my head around it, but George will keep us on the straight and narrow. Other than that, yes, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time, which means toodaloo.